Hi everybody, today's recipe is for tender coconut pudding that I had made the last time. The things you will need are the tender coconut malai. This is not the cream that you get the canned one. This is just plain fresh tender coconut malai. Then there's tender coconut water, which is water from the coconut here and malai here. I'm using heritage toned milk. You can take your choice of milk. There's no hard and fast rule. 1 tin of Amul Mithai mate and 3 boxes, 10 grams each of plain china grass or agar. You will need a couple of tablespoons, depending on your taste buds, of sugar, a jar, and a non-stick pan preferably, because agar will tend to stick on the button that you're using. It's just better if you use a non-stick pan. So let's get cracking. All the measurements that you will hear in my video are in grams, deliberately not in cups, because cup size can vary sometimes depending on what brand you're using. So I am going to take about 200 grams, which will be roughly 200 ml also, of tender coconut water. It is better if you use the fresh one instead of the carton. There we are. It is exactly 200. Start heating it very gently on the flame. Please don't heat too much, because tender coconut water tends to lose its flavor if it is heated too much. Now I have put my agar crystals in a jar. It's a powder, and we are actually going to need 30 grams. There's quite a bit of milk, etc. that I'm using. That's 30 grams of our agar, which is 3 packs. It comes in packs of 10 grams. As you heat it, you'll start to see small bubbles forming at the edge. That is the correct stage for adding the agar. It is not immediately going to dissolve. You will need to wait for some time, but as soon as it becomes transparent, you have to stop. Please do not overheat. It will tend to form lumps, so I recommend constant stirring. This is going to take about a couple of minutes to get done. Once agar has completely dissolved, it becomes a slightly thick, clear solution. Now to this solution, add about 4 tablespoons depending on your taste. Last time I added 6 and it got a bit too sweet, so I'm adding 4. Four tablespoons of sugar, which is about 53 grams, and stir it gently till it dissolves. This serves 2 purposes. Because the solution is hot, sugar dissolves, and because you are stirring, it cools down as well. To this we will be adding some more coconut water. I am taking equal quantities of milk and coconut water for the pudding. And voila, within a few seconds, maybe a minute or so, all the sugar has completely dissolved. Once this is done, I am going to bring my scale to 0 and add 300 grams more of coconut water. So now totally we have half a kilo of tender coconut water in which we've mixed 30 grams of agar. If you're a non-vegetarian, you can opt for gelatin as well. Both of them have exactly the same effect. Now this will begin to cool down and thicken, so you work a little fast. Set this aside. Now in a mixing bowl, pour the milk. And the condensed milk tin. This is a 400 gram Amul mithai weight tin. Now all that you need to do is stir these two to mix the condensed milk and the milk. This brings about a very delicate sweetness in the pudding. It's just a half-minute job. Now the important part, the malai. Here make sure there are no brown parts left in it. Can you see these are just little remnants of the coconut it was extracted from. Just remove these gently with a knife. Tear the malai roughly into small pieces. And you have to grind it to a fine puree. The more tender the malai, the tastier the pudding turns out to be. So try to get the softest one you can find. This is the malai from 4 tender coconuts. The water that I ended up using, the coconut water, is just about 2 coconuts worth. So you have a pudding at the end and some nice yummy tender coconut water remaining. Four coconuts have led to 170 grams of malai. That's quite good. It gives an intense flavor. Now what we need to do is to grind it to fine paste. And just this much is more than enough. Forms a very nice homogeneous paste. This we will now mix in the tender coconut and agar mix that we have. It is okay if it looks slightly grainy because the puree is not absolutely fine. This in fact gives it a nice coconutty feel. Now we have two separate liquids. One is milk plus condensed milk and the other is tender coconut, malai and agar. Now we just mix it. Here is your tender coconut pudding mix, which is ready. It is absolutely liquid right now, and this is going to need overnight refrigeration for the jelly to set. Please don't rush it, otherwise the fun isn't there of scooping into your tender coconut pudding and that same pudding, cold and soothing, melting in your mouth. So you can skip the greasing part if you want. So I'm not strictly greasing. I'm just using a cooking spray. So just very gently spray the bottom of your burtan in which you want to set the jelly. There's not too much. You can skip this step, but it happened to me that the jelly broke while I was demolding it when I wasn't using the spray. And it's quite heartbreaking that after all this effort, the jelly just broke. You can also set it in individual cups. In that case, you can serve it as it is. Here I'm setting it in a big one because I want to serve it in pieces to family and friends. Oops, a little bit of condensed milk will get mixed up. Just gently stir. Here we are. Now to make sure nothing's falling into it, just cling wrap it. I have deliberately used a metal burtan because that cools faster. You can use a glass or plastic one. It's not a problem. There's no particular specification that you need to do this way. Our pudding is ready. Now all I need to do is dunk it into the refrigerator and tomorrow it is going to be ready. I hope that helped. Please do try it. It has a very nice subtle flavor and such an ideal pudding for summer. Bye.